for a higher juicy news. Mima Obibia Aquaba, latest hot and one Aremeyaw bro. Now, Sana is summoning in a bebaro. So we now subscribe, ya, Bomodia say over subscribe. Now, while I give video, don't give us a thumbs up, not fee. Share now or fufrosu. Now, when you be here now, and someone ekoso, ewo Ghana memohano. Afi, you share a year and someone abeto yeponoso. Inti a year, some kumu a year, Sansemoya, Babitu, ya Moma inti, dia ekoso, inti Zemono.
For us to look at our analysis from an angle of refusing to give credit when there is due, when it is, we have to give credit, and then always say, no, you have not done anything. If Ghana had been on autopilot, wouldn't have been where we are. There are things that clearly the government is doing well, and regardless of your partisan political persuasion, if it will not hurt. I mean, I think that we gain a lot of respectability and credibility when we're able to say that this is right, but this is wrong. I don't have to be MPP to say that.
I don't think I can stand here for this. I think it is too much. I have tried to remain very calm. You know, he's attacked. I mean, when it comes to credibility, my Prof is not more credible than me.
Dr. Domfe, no, I think that
you made reference to me. And you are hitting me.
So, Dr. Domfe, I think you would do the program a lot of good if you let me finish. I think you have your. So I am here and I'm saying that I'm not making a personal attack. No, see, please.
Okay.
So, Dr. Domfe, I do not fear if I have to attack you personally. No, I'm saying that, but I'm saying I'm not attacking your person.
I don't think.
Okay, but the point is that you see when
you respect the moderator, I beg.
So we are academics.
Tone down. I don't think it will serve.
Hold on. Please.
I challenge you that you don't understand the economy. You wouldn't be saying this.
Areas that this budget is hinged on: fiscal consolidation, job creation and accelerated economic growth, strengthening security and social sectors. Does this budget give that indication of achieving these objectives? What's the verdict exactly that you put on this?
Yeah, my verdict, but before I come to declare my verdict on the budget, let me quickly respond to my friend Senor Hosi. I don't think I agree with him. If you, I'll just share with Prof. Boakye about the numbers.
You are 5 minutes.
The gold. Gold, if you look at the figures from Bank of Ghana recently, the last 10 years, gold inflows, merchandise gold and inflows never hit 7 billion until 2003, when we hit 7.6 billion for the first time. 2024, it jumped to 11.6 billion. We've never seen anything like that. 2024, there was no gold board. So sometimes attribution, we have to be very careful when we are talking as if everything happening is because of the gold board. Indeed, at the beginning of the year, when it was PMMC and it wasn't gold board, the inflows through PMMC was 506 million. This increased to, it increased to 897 million, almost 900, in NAPO. And gold board started its operation in May. And so if now we have moved from almost 900 to 1.1 billion, and you think that gold board is doing so much, then we are deceiving ourselves, because it was already doing, the increase was already there when it was, PMMC. Let us set the record straight. This is where I have a problem. Things are going well.
Saying that the creation and intervention of gold board hasn't made any significant impact?
No, gold board is fantastic. I like the idea behind it. But it's too early to push to them almost everything that is happening, because as I said, and the figures are here. From Bank of Ghana, gold, the last 10 years, the merchandise gold and inflows never went anywhere closer to 7 billion, but 2023 it hit 7.6 billion. 2024 it moved on to 11.4 billion. Look at the jump. There was no gold board at the time. And if you look at even this year, when it was PMMC, and the data is here, 506 million January. By April, it was 897 million. So it was already increasing before gold board came. And if gold board came, and by September, it has moved to 1.1 billion, 2 million increase. Why are we clapping and jumping as if gold board is doing something nobody has ever seen? That is not supported by the data. And this has been my problem, the attribution. So now let me quickly say that the economy is doing well. Anybody who says Ghanaian economy is not doing well today doesn't want to tell the truth. It is true, we are doing well, and I have said that we are almost going back to our pre-COVID period, where we were doing well because we were under an IMF, and today we are still doing well because we are an IMF. When you pick the growth, for example, 2019, the economy grew at 6.5%, and at the beginning of this year, the first half of the year, according to the finance minister, yesterday, was it yesterday? 3 days ago,
Yes.
when the budget was okay.
13.
Yeah, 13. Yeah, so he said that during the first half of the year, the economy grew at 6.3%. And that means that we are almost getting to the 6.5 that we had in 2019. What he said that I don't agree with him was that because of the good policy measures that they put in place, the economy during the first half of the year grew 6.3. Yeah, the economy did very well, growing at 6.3. And last year we had the growth rate of 5.7. So 2003 it was around 2023 it was around 3%. We didn't do well. And 2024 we moved to 5.7. And so you don't need anybody to tell you that the growth was already improving. And when we entered this year, if you look at the sectors that are driving the growth, services and agriculture, I haven't seen this government doing anything so spectacular in the agricultural area, for which reason the agriculture sector grew 6% during the first half of the year. Last year, during the same period, agriculture sector grew 2.9%. That was horrible. It didn't rain last year. And so this year, if it had not rained, we would have witnessed the same thing we witnessed last year. And so the good rainfall is the reason, because you may tell me, maybe I don't know, but that during the first 6 months, there was a particular agricultural policy that this government implemented that pushed the growth from 2.9% it was last year to 6%. Unless you are able to tell me that. I haven't seen that. I live in Ghana, I move around Ghana, I was in your constituency a while ago, working throughout the voter region and OT regions. I go everywhere, I know the data, I use the data to teach, I drink the data, I eat the data, I know all this. So it will be very surprised for you to tell me that NDC, I'm not saying they're not doing well. Okay. They have started well. Implementing the PC peg, I love it. I'm just hoping that at the end of this show, when an IMF goes, what will become of the PC peg? Are we going to continue I mean, that is it. Yeah, but let us, if you look at the industrial sector, it didn't do well at all.
2025 budget on the agri?
Oh, yeah. I like the things there.
So the policies were implemented this year. That's why you see the improvement.
Unless you haven't read agricultural policies
in our 2025
so which sector did it affect? Is it a crop production, maize?
You say you are in the food?
No, yeah, I'm in the field. So I've seen your policies. In fact, the budget that you read, we all did the analysis. That was read in April. That budget was read in April. And we're talking about...
It was read in March.
March. Okay, March. Yeah. But implementation started 1st April. It started 1st April. And so within 3 months, NDC implemented a particular, and I want you to tell us, a particular policy that pushed the agricultural sector to grow from 2.5%, it was last year, to 6%.
No, incredible. I asked you. We had policies on the agricultural sector in 2025. You are bringing the improvement down to rainfall.
If you keep...
No, I'm saying that's significant.
No, you are bringing it down to rainfall.
No, I said significantly.
So you said when it rains.
When it rains,
you said we had rain. That's why we are having improvements.
In fact, it has always been like that. When it rains, agricultural sector does well. When it doesn't rain, we don't do well. That's what the data will tell you. Indeed. The last 8 years of NDC, the last 3 years, because it didn't rain well, Akosombo even dried and we had do so. But it really
Akosombo dried.
Oh, let me come because it's
Akosombo flooded.
Yeah, the water. No, I'm talking about the last 3 years of your
Akosombo flooded 3 years ago. No, flooded last year.
I think you're referencing
I'm just
didn't dry up. The water levels reduced.
So I like that. But I'm saying that I'm not talking about 3 years ago. I'm making reference to 2014, 2015, 2016. When when the economy struggled, agricultural sector was suffering. At that time, it was not raining. Not only did it affect, the water levels in Akosombo, that also brought in its wake Dumso, but it also affected the agricultural sector.
What are you saying? If 2024, 2023, the dam overflew. The dam,
I'm talking about 14, 15, 16.
So that's 2014.
Let me.
Okay, gentlemen. So you know what?
Something in context. Allow me to flow.
Okay.
So the context that I'm trying to say is that when it rains, we do well. And as a country, it's not good for us. It's not good for us. Let's accept this. When it rains, I'm not only saying that this year it has rained so well, and everything that has happened to the agricultural sector is because of the rains. I'm saying that significantly because
and that's why the likes of
2015, 2016, when it didn't rain, the agricultural sector
at some point reference that's why the policies like one village, one dam, to solve this situation.
And we didn't see the end.
It never happened. It never happened.
It didn't work.
You see?
It didn't work. So we have to be serious.
Now come to Prof.
Irrigation.
You see, sometimes two sides can be right. Prof. Domfe is right when he says that rain affects agriculture.
Yes, Dr. Domfe.
Sorry, Dr. Domfe. Rain affects agriculture. Generally, and I have Prof here, he can correct me if I'm wrong. In economics, there are shepherds and there are transformers. When you see a growth trajectory, all right, it's moving from 1 to 2, you can tell that tomorrow it will be at 3, the next day it will be at 4, ordinarily, without intervention. What shepherds do is that they hold things steady. They don't cause damage. And so they allow things to move, and then you get the growth you want. And note that there are people who are damaging directors. People who, when you hand things over to them, they will bring it down. So you are better off with a shepherd. Now, what Prof is trying to say is that if we didn't do anything, nobody put anything in the mix, we will still reach where we've reached. Where I differ with him a bit is this. We would have reached that place, but a little lower. Okay?
Yes.
What this government has done is to be a good shepherd to make sure we are not going back. And then they have added a little momentum. That's why I say, if you read a budget 31st of March, effectively, in fact, even in April, it won't take effect.
Yeah.
All right. So you can't say it was the reason for anything that happened within a month. All right. So he's right when he says it's the rain, and that has been true since Kwame Nkrumah. But the difference, and if you ask Prof Bob, he will tell you that there was a little nudge upwards.
Do you know there are rainmakers?
Oh, I beg.
I'm asking you. And do you know some people naturally, some regime naturally would attract rain.
Okay, let me finish. So our friend, what we need to clean down, and I think Dr. Domfe, guys, he was saying similar things about gold board,
yes,
similar things about the currency and other things. It is true that some of the things we are reaping now started back in the last government. We had 30 tons of gold left, okay, for this government to inherit. Okay. As we speak, we have less than 32 tons. They have added just about 2. So gold board has done a good job. But like he was saying, my friend Anakwesi, one who was there, did a sterling job and they didn't make any noise. And if you look at the trajectory in PMMC, where they were going, you will see why gold board is where it is. So again, they have not damaged anything. They have added some momentum, and that is we want.
And that is
that is what we want. So that is correct. But everybody should be gracious enough to give a bit of credit to everybody else. And let me acknowledge
the presence of
share credit. Share credit. That's all.
Thank you.
I don't know why they don't share credit.
There is no ratio for that. That's why
they share the credit.
Okay, please.
I think we professionals should
acknowledge the presence of Professor Gyampo is a professor of political science at heart and the CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority. Prof, good morning. Welcome.
Morning.
Thank you for the patience.
Yes,
let me acknowledge the presence of Martin Pebu.
Once you introduce, we know what I will do. So let me finish.
Wait. Let me also acknowledge the presence of Martin Pebu.
Then we'll come.
Why? Because he's been seen now.
Okay.
Okay, so I cannot do my ritual.
No, but I've not done mine. How do you do yours?
No,
but I've not done mine.
So let me do mine. This is just it's a minute each.
Well, so let me use the minute. Let me use the minute. See, I drove in here to see Ato Forson's car parked there. Minister of Finance, acting Minister of Defense.
Yes,
he drove in here alone. Okay. He drove in here.
In fact, we didn't know that.
No sirens, no motor skates, no bodyguards. And he came seamlessly here. I said, is that Ato Forson? He said, yes. Please.
Yes.
If it is good, it is good. If it is nice, it is nice. If it is commendable, it must be commended.
Yes.
Okay? Previously, would have had the whole place cordoned off.
Yes.
Would have been stampeded here with security, national security, and what have you. I saw my brother, I'm sure Zato would come in here, interacting with the finance minister and telling him about the roads in his area. And then I heard you, Martin, asking, did you have this same opportunity with the previous finance minister?
He never got a handshake.
He never got a handshake.
No, he never got a handshake.
He had a hug. He had a hug with Ato Forson.
Yes.
He will speak for himself. So my point is to commend Ato Forson for the show of such humility and simplicity. Okay? Empty barrels make the most noise. Ato, Ghana is peaceful, but human beings are bad. So at least one bodyguard around you would be good. Don't come here alone without a bodyguard. It shows simplicity and humility. But Ghana is peaceful, but human beings are bad.
Right on.
Okay. Yes. So I'm here. So thank you. Somebody asked me that. Did I go looking for Ofori Atta? Praise the KJ. Yes. When I left, he said, these 2 weeks you are away. Were you looking for Ofori Atta? Then I said, oh, that wouldn't have been a bad idea. The point I'm making is that so the search is on and still on the special prosecutor's case. We want to remind Kennedy Agyapong that look, I beg he should just do and resign. The way he allowed Ofori Atta to run away, no, the game is over. The way he sat down, said we watched him leave. He said he got intel. He intercepted the letter which showed that Ofori Atta was about to travel, and he didn't tell the people of Ghana. He said, "Jabin, pack and leave. Pack and leave quickly. You've lost moral authority. You can't do this job." So once again, I want to thank Asante Bediatuo for the good job done. That's Akufo Addo's relation. Yet she came out a number of times to criticize Akufo Addo when times were going bad, and that's what we asked people in this current administration to do. The fact that you're in relation to JM doesn't mean that everything JM does is good. No. If it's bad, I mean, come out and say it. He would even appreciate it. The same to Kentucky Teko the second Gamanche, the man leading the charges for the recovery of our money from Sicily Adapa. And then Domahini, Ose Adeyo, Atmanbedu the second. Of course, hey, I've not forgotten, 52.5 billion, you know, OSP. As I said, when Kisi leaves, the man taking over should make sure that we recover that money. That 52.5 billion that left the GCB account to some unknown sources. We need that report. And of course, the Auditor General has a role to play in this. He wrote a letter in December 2020 that he was going to give us a report. Can you imagine? And he's still in that office.
Tell him to resign.
Yes, we've said it ad nauseam. He has to go to. You see, he has to go. Because we need a clean sweep.
You want everybody to resign like that?
Yes, Professor Pumpkin is here. We need Pumpkin is here. Look, let's try something else. Oh, no. You will be biased. You will be biased. No, Dr. Domfe is here. Domfe has never acknowledged that when Ofori Atta and cocaine, they said they will turn this economy in 18 months. I want to ask you, Domfe, before COVID came, well, did you see any poultry farm like now we have in Kukon Kitinkiti? Did you see any massive transformation, build up of poultry farm? Right?
You are on your substantive point now.
I've engaged Domfe privately. He's never been able to answer this question. You keep doubting that by 2019 we're doing. Domfe, my only question.
This is your substantive comment you are making.
Sorry?
So it's your substantive comment you are making. So because you've gone beyond the 1 minute, because you are asking questions. So
yes.
you finish it.
Yes.
Because I will come back to you again.
All your economic analysis. Listen, you are a book doctor, fine. In economics, all that development economics. But we, thank you. He who fails it knows it. You've done all this analysis, but you've never been able to answer. When your people were coming, they said they would change this Gadgetsburg economy within 18 months.
Whose people? Whose people?
NPP. You were supporting them. You were a cheerleader. I heard you on
Okay.
Yes, so my question for you is that
no. Dr. Domfe.
For NDC when they were in position.
Okay.
Dr. Domfe.
Just call her me.
Gentlemen.
I've told you
Dr.
that I'm not a card member.
Dr. Domfe.
It's not a card.
Hold on.
You speak all the time for NDC.
Dr. Domfe.
And you are very, I don't want him to bring my name into this. Don't do that.
Dr. Domfe.
What I want you to answer is,
yes. So please,
what I want you to answer, Dr. Domfe, is that by the time COVID hit, MPP had more than 36 months. How did they transform the economy? Because look, the mandate was that come and transform the economy. You were going to improve agriculture in such a way that will stop the rice importation, poultry, chicken. What is rocket science about that? You had over 36 months. You couldn't do this. So every time you come and analyze, as long as that matter has not been resolved, there's nothing I will understand from what you're saying. It's simple. We have so much arable land in Ghana here. So much. Right? The rivers are here. Do fishing, do poultry, do rice farming, tomatoes. We import tomatoes from Burkina Faso. Even water. We import water. Last year, didn't we import water valued over $11 million? How? So that's a simple question. So don't come with the high-sounding, faluting words about primary balances. The mandate was that you were supposed to change the Gadgetsburg economy. So by the 8 years that MPP was leaving, did you change that Gadgetsburg economy?
Okay.
That's all.
Right. So I'll not come to you again on the budget. Thank you.
So he has.
Yes, he's made this point.
Yes.
Mr. Addo, your substantive and then we'll move on. I'll come to you, Prof.
Dr. Domfe got it wrong.
On what?
When he said the improvement in the agricultural sector is primarily due to the improvement in rainfall.
During the 6 months.
Please. Wait. When we took over the reins of this government, or the reins of power of state, we introduced key agri policies. Read our 2025 budget state, please.
Tell us.
Okay, please. You know, Dr. Domfe.
Please.
Tell us.
Okay, so let
me tell you that you have refused to
let me say this.
Yes.
I would ask that if someone is making the submission, just as I wouldn't allow anybody to interrupt you, Please don't do that.
I just wanted to compensate you.
I'm just saying, because I'll come back to you.
Good compensation.
Okay? Right.
Now, we introduced key policies, including Feed Ghana. Do you know what we've done with Feed Ghana this year?
Tell us.
We put youth in groups and set them up to go into farming, supported them with free fertilizer distribution and farmer trucks. During your time, you were selling fertilizers to farmers. You were.
You are tough.
When fertilizer came to my district in Southern, it was sold. Even though subsidized, but it was sold. Now it is freely distributed. That's number one. Number two, the Feed Ghana has been so successful that there's improvement in crop production, there's improvement in fishing, there's aquaculture, there's improvement in the cocoa sector, there's improvement in livestock production. You can get the statistics. So the improvement is broad-based. It's not compartmentalized. It's so broad-based that every sector of the agric subsector of the industry or of the economy has seen improvement. When I became the chairman of the National Premix Committee, we took very concrete steps to improve supply of premix to our fisher folks, both inland and marine.
Okay.
It has led to a lot of improvement in fishing. So, Dr. Domfe, please, the results you see, for instance, crop has improved up to about 6.2%. Livestock, 5.8%.
Within the period under
Fishing,
review?
yes, fishing, 7.7%. It used not to be the case. In fact, last year, there were issues about premium supply to fisher folks. They couldn't go to fishing. It was an issue in this country. Now you can't do that under my watch. So give credit where it is due.
Okay.
Now, about Gold Board. Parliament set up Gold Board in April 2025. Sammy Gyamfi was appointed, I believe, sometime in January or February 2025. So he was appointed as MD for PMMC. And see the improvement. So it is not really about Gold Board, but it's about the young man having transformed the place. The figures speak for itself. Look, under PMMC, if I can give you the figure, in 2023, they did a total of 37.45 kilograms of gold. The value that we had for it was $2.1 billion. In 2024, they did 63.64 kilograms of gold. We had $4.61 billion value. Today, 2025, between January and now, he's done so far 81.71 kilograms, and the value is in excess of 8 billion. He has more than doubled what he came to inherit.
Okay.
So it's about the policies that the new management has put in place. So the improvement that he brought between January to April before at 1140, I believe, was passed in 2025. We took credit in with that before the name change came and the transformation he brought. So you have said we should commend people when they do well.
And share credit.
And share credit.
It's just that there's no ratio for the sharing.
So let me play with Dr. Domfe that the things happening are not whimsical.
Okay.
They are as a result of concrete, deliberate policies that this government has instituted.
We raise our own resources. We think that, look, we go and people owe us, we go and collect our money from them. We want to spend to do other things. And they said, come for commitment authorization. I said, but what do you mean? You didn't give me the money. I said, yes. It's still public money.
Funds, yeah.
And so you can see the hold that he's exercising so that people you don't spend. And the last time I think we heard him speak, he was talking about something that I don't know whether it's found its way into the budget, but no mobilization fee to contractors.
Yeah.
You know, I got into government to see that a lot of contracts have been awarded to contractors without
really, without genuine intentions,
To actually do the work.
to actually, do the work that, have been contracted to people. So people are just going about collecting mobilization fee and then not doing the work.
Abandoning project.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Ato is saying that no, if you are a contractor worth your salt, you should be able to go raise your own resources and do the work. If you do the work, we'll pay you. And I think that is a brilliant intervention to ensure that people don't just go spending, and people just don't go awarding contracts without intentions. And it is troubling. I mean, you see some of these things, but you did X, Y, Z, you awarded this contract without even thinking about whether you have the resources. You are not thinking whether you even have the resources to execute, but you quickly would award and pay mobilization fee, to people. And
Prof, just one point. The other thing I'm very happy with is the announcement that we should buy local rice, oil, and things for
school kids. Yeah,
I am 100%.
I was going to talk about it.
100% for it.
Now, SHS, we don't have food, and people are importing perfumed rice.
Yes.
And all that. Meanwhile, the local manufacturers of rice and poultry products and all that are also crying that they are not getting market and all that. It is a commendable feat for a government to ask that, look, we are all going to eat locals, at the secondary schools. And it is important that we all were eating. I mean, the wache that we're buying, I mean, the 2 me that,
I still eat local rice.
I mean, so, and it is healthy.
Yes.
So how
and
do
I
you,
like it.
So look, let me, you are asking what our takes are. I am impressed about the abolition of the COVID levy. I mean,
even though they enjoyed it for 12 months this year.
But it has to take time. It takes time to abolish.
It doesn't have to take time.
And then also, now we've got into single digit inflation, and then also talking about SHS feeding on local food crops, and then cutting waste, spending well, and improvement in revenue mobilization. Now our debt to GDP, we are told, is around 45%. 28 billion cedis to keep our lights, to keep Ghana switched on. I mean, investing in the energy sector. You have also the road infrastructure of 30 billion under the Big Push plan, and then also 500 million commercial agriculture. And I think I had an engagement with him and was saying that one of the interventions that would have to be put in place by government to address illegal mining is about finding ways of diversifying sources of employment, and that some of the illegal miners, if you look at the way a manner, they are always chased, they are panting, they are running. It's just that some, they don't have work to do. But if they get other source of employment, and so this commercial agriculture thing with investment of $500 million, would help in providing other sources of livelihood and employment for people. And then the decision to end double track system in our SHS program, free SHS program, within 24 months, I think it's also commendable. And then I heard him talking about completion of the Agenda 111 by also bringing about the building of hospitals in newly created regions, no payment of mobilization fee. I've said that 150 million being committed to the fight against galamsey. And then also, I mean, some of these things, my issue has been that rather than always budget statement being prepared and then we sitting here to speak English, we should also go down there to explain how these things tangibly affect the livelihood of the ordinary people. Because otherwise then it's always about macroeconomic stability and all those things that really people may not feel. So it is important that the government itself and then finance minister, finds a way of getting to the grassroots and ensuring that some of these things that have tangible.
We have the citizen budgets.
Well, so I think it's something that must be done, and DCs, like you're saying, must own it. They should be tasked to be deliberate and intentional about it. So, because you see, when you cannot talk about governance when achievements, good governance, when achievements are always high up there and then they don't mean really tangible, they are not tangible in a manner that affects the life, that are felt by the ordinary people. So it's important that having presented to Parliament, and I know Parliament is going to be deliberating on upon it. I think members of Parliament themselves must also take it, as part of their town hall meetings, to talk about how tangibly beneficial the budget is going to be for them. I think that so far, in my view, there may be challenges here and there, but I think so far Ato is doing well. I heard my brother talking about attribution and the way we have to be cautious about how we attribute. Sure. Look, as I believe that, look, if people did things well, they must be commended. If people did things right, they must be commended. And if we are celebrating today, and there is a reason for us to look into yesterday, to also see that, well, it did not happen only, from the moon, but it has some antecedent. It's important we do it. But the point is that to also sound like nothing, that all the things that are happening today are as a result of things that happened in the past, creates an impression that then we could have gotten here even if we were on autopilot. Governance was on autopilot, which is an unfair analysis of the situation. See, within 2-3 days or 1 week in his administration, the whole nation was faced with an imminent power shutdown. The whole Ghana was going to be switched off. And when that was about to happen, people started blaming President Mahama, who had been just about 1 month in office, that you've come and then there's going to be doom so. But this was something that a previous regime didn't do. Okay? So we're going to blame it on him. But he stood up and said that I'm assuring you will do what we have to do to keep Ghana switched on. So my point is that if Ghana today had collapsed, if the economy had collapsed today, would we have said that it was the previous administration? Would have the current administration would have taken the blame. And so if things are going on right, and I want to say that no, there's nothing that you are doing, I don't think that it is right. As an academic, when I'm given a dossier to assess for people's promotion, I look at what is right about it, what is commendable about it, what is significant about it, and what the contributions of those dossiers would be to the scholarly enterprise. When I do that, then I will also go on to talk about the challenges or problems, and then I will draw my conclusion. So my view is that it is unfair for us to look at our analysis from an angle of refusing to give credit when there is due, when it is, we have to give credit, and then always say, no, you have not done anything. If Ghana had been on autopilot, wouldn't have been where we are. There are things that clearly the government is doing well, and regardless of your partisan political persuasion, if it will not hurt. I mean, I think that we gain a lot of respectability and credibility when we're able to say that this is right, but this is wrong. I don't have to be MPP to say that.
I don't think I can stand here for this. I think it is too much. I have tried to remain very calm. He's attacked. I mean, when it comes to credibility, my prof is not more credible than me.
Dr. Domfe, no, I think that
you made reference to me and you are hitting me.
So, Dr. Domfe, I think you would do the program a lot of good if you let me finish. I think you have your
opportunity. To those who are viewing watching this, be fair to them.
When you round up.
All right, so Alfred, let me make the point that I think that the program as has been run over the years has been a program, it's been a decent platform. Okay, there were so many things that he said. In fact, I'm not really making a personal attack on you if I have to
that's
clarify.
What you're doing.
No,
that's why
please.
You don't do that to
So I am here and I'm saying that I'm not making a
colleague.
personal attack. No, see,
Don't
please.
do that to a colleague.
So, Dr. Domfe, I do not fear if I have to attack you personally. No, I'm saying that, but I'm saying I'm not attacking your person.
I don't think.
Okay,
I don't
but the point is that you see when you
respect the moderator. I beg. Tone down.
So
we are academics.
Tone down.
I
don't think it will serve any good going on this.
No, I'm just trying to make the point that when we are disagreeing with each other and we are making our points, I mean, we have to be civil enough in waiting for each other to finish. No, I'm calm. But I'm just trying to say that. So when credit is due,
okay,
we must give. And when we have to criticize, we must criticize.
Okay.
But to always say that, no, you have not done anything. No, you cannot attribute this to. I mean, I think it's unfair. And it's important that I put it on record.
Okay, well, Mr. Beto, very quickly. Just
see,
I need to round up on
the
this.
wrap up
so that
on all of this. I have my 1 minute.
No. 1 minute. 1 minute. No, don't worry. I'll come to you. Mr. Bento.
The wrap up on all of this is this, please. Governance is a continuum. Number one. Number two, nobody inherits a blank slate. What we are saying here is that in fact, Prof. Bobkin just said that the worst situation we had, the debt situation, was under NDC. Then MPP came, seemed to have shaped us out and ended us in a worse situation than that.
Yeah.
Then you have, and I always made the point that after Ken Ofori Atta came Mohammed Amin. And Amin repaired a lot. And then Ato comes up and Ato is following from there. Look, this government must be commended. I said earlier that sometimes you have damaging directors. They take a good thing and they make it worse. They have taken a good thing and made it better. But they can't take all the credits. There must be graciousness and credit sharing.
Okay.
The attribution must be balanced because let's understand that no one group, party or person will take this country forward. If we get our act together and we at this great level finish to a point, let somebody continue. So let's have this, spirit.
Right on.
That if we continue like this, then everybody will add a bit.
Right.
Everybody has some blame. Everybody has some credit. Let's move.
Perfect. Domfe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Calm down.
Yeah. I mean, Alfred, thank you very much. And let me put it on record that this program started with us. Those days when this lady used to hold the program. So it's not as if I'm appearing on this program for the first time. It started with us. I used to come here almost every Saturday. And we're always making decent.
You're going to be
contribution and all that.
So
Prof. Bobkin spoke. Some of the things he said, I don't agree with him. Some of those that I said, he didn't agree with me. Some of what I said, he supported. He spoke as an academic, a very decent one as for that matter. He never attacked me. I have respect for such people. I have never said that nothing is happening. I am complaining about the attribution, and I kept on saying that significantly is because of the rainfall. If I say significantly, because the growth in question here is in reference to the first 6 months. And this budget started working 1st April. So even if they had brought whatever magic to push the agricultural sector, I don't think that within the 3 months, April, May, June, could push the sector to grow at 6%. And I have shown you data where anytime it rains very well, agricultural sector does well. And if because of this you think I'm not being academic, I have a problem.
No, my problem is when you said nobody could do anything about the pandemic.
Let me make the point.
I said that. That's why you said it wasn't academic at all. You don't sound academic.
Hold on.
You didn't sound academic.
Let me say this.
And I'm putting it on record.
Yes.
Let me repeat that.
No, you make the point. Let me just say that. He's on the phone.
You're saying he's not academic, and I'm saying what is not academic in the
to make the point. I think you need to ensure some decorum. Ensure some decorum because I don't like this.
I mean, to answer you.
No.
November 2019, government had read a budget. We're going to spend 85 billion, and to rake in also 66 billion. And I mean, we incur fiscal deficit of 4.7%, and that would have been within the remits of the law because we were working under the Fiscal Responsibility Act, right? And we enter here. You didn't know there was going to be anything covered before we could say that expenditure had ballooned to 104 billion, and then revenue dropped to 55 billion. There was a revenue shortfall of 11 billion, and that 11 billion which was significantly because of the import duties that we were not getting.
Well, like the foolish lady, we didn't prepare. We didn't have resilience.
So they had resilience.
Very good. Now you are talking. No, I said that nobody could do anything.
You are the one who is inviting him in.
The vulnerability. There was no answer.
No answer. You had the opportunity to create funds. You had the opportunity to do congress. You had the opportunity to do right funds. Did you do that? Well, like the foolish lady, you didn't prepare for the.
Your microphone is off.
And so, I'll forgive you.
Gentlemen,
I will forgive you because maybe you don't have. Full understanding of the
make your point. Make your point. If you keep saying this, you keep inviting him.
He has to withdraw that.
Hold on.
I challenge you that you don't understand the economy. You wouldn't be saying this.
I do.
I don't think
so let me say.
You will continue.
No,
I'm not stopping you. You continue. Doc, you continue. You continue. Let me just say this.
Our economy has been vulnerable.
And that's the point we are making. So we brought you in to transform it. You are not getting the argument.
Thank you, man. Thank you. You continue. I want you to end your point.
Yeah, so my
specifically,
my point is that nobody
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question.
Somebody who's
Dr. Domfe.
When you were the president, look at what you did.
Dr. Domfe.
Look at what you did. You were so political.
You are not listening to me. Thank you very much. Gentlemen,
you are not.
Thank you. You are not listening to me. Thank you very much. We're going to go for this quick break. We are back shortly. Stay with us.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.